and gentlemen, and welcome to Leaders, a program that celebrates women who lead, women who inspire and transform their communities. In this edition, we are honored to host a remarkable woman whose work stands at the crossroads of environmental action, feminist leadership, and youth empowerment. Our guest today is Nganjo Memunatu. Stay tuned. Leaders is right now. Dear televiewers, we are very delighted and honored to host a remarkable woman whose works and stands at the crossroads of environmental actions. And to present this woman, we present to you her portrait.
Journaliste, animatrice, entrepreneur et activiste féminine, Nganjo Memunatu fait partie de ces femmes qui mettent leur voix et leur énergie au service de la société. À travers son parcours professionnel et son engagement communautaire, elle s'illustre comme une promotrice du leadership féminin et du développement durable. Dans l'univers des médias, elle exerce comme journaliste et animatrice un rôle qui lui permet d'informer, de sensibiliser et de donner la parole à différentes couches de la société. Son travail contribue à mettre en lumière des problématiques sociales tout en valorisant les initiatives positives portées par les femmes et les jeunes. Parallèlement à sa carrière médiatique, Nganjo Memunatu est également entrepreneur et activiste féminine. Elle milite pour une plus grande participation des femmes dans les sphères économiques et sociales, encourage leur autonomisation et leur prise de leadership. Son engagement s'exprime aussi sur le terrain environnemental. Elle occupe le poste de Country Director de l'association des DROIT Cameroun, une organisation qui mobilise les citoyens autour des actions de protection de l'environnement et de lutte contre la pollution. À travers cette responsabilité, elle participe activement à la promotion d'initiatives écologiques et à la sensibilisation des communautés sur l'importance de préserver le cadre de vie. Entre médias, entrepreneuriat et engagement citoyen, Nganjo Memunatu incarne ainsi le portrait d'une femme dynamique dont les actions contribuent à inspirer et à transformer la société.
Nous sommes de retour sur le plateau de Leaders avec notre invité. Le décor a été bien planté. Notre invitée du jour, elle est journaliste, elle est entrepreneure environnementale et elle est activiste féminine. Elle est nulle autre que Memunatu. Bonjour.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome on the set of BNews One.
It's always a pleasure to join you here at BNews One.
This is Leaders, and I guess it's your first time on Leaders.
Yeah, it's my first time.
And I'm very delighted.
Thank you. Good deco, nice program, nice title.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. I am happy. So with you today, we are going to have some exceptional moments. Like our conversations sometimes can be very deep. You know, when I have to have a guest on my set, I have the opportunity just to talk with a person, like go into the deep history of the person, because the televiewers looking at us today, they need to know that this person, they went through this to be who they are today. Yeah. Like for you to be a source of motivation for all the Cameroonian women and the young women watching at you today. So how can you describe your journey to someone discovering you for the first time?
I don't like
describing yourself.
Yeah, I don't always like to say the journey is tough.
Yeah,
but it's remarkable. It's a remarkable journey. I wish I could always talk about my journey from when I was in my mother's womb.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we can't. We can't. We don't always know when we're in the womb. But I think when I went out of the womb, I came out in a special way.
Yeah.
And from that moment, there was something peculiar about the journey. So the journey started, and I don't know much, but my childhood was really, really kind of creative. Always wanting to create something new. Very brilliant, very smart,
Yeah.
and very inquisitive. I think this is the best word I can say. But when I was 5 years old, I joined an organization.
Ooh, at 5 years old.
Yeah, I always tell people that I was born in an organization. That was back then. They used to call it a Plan Child.
Yeah.
So back then there was a project that came from Plan International that went into villages to identify some like brilliant children in the form of a scholarship.
Yeah.
And through what they call the pen pal family, pen pal friend. So there was a friend, a family member over there who could adopt you from your country, and then they would take care of you, your school. So I used to be so, I used to just see it, and then my family would send me things, like my friend in the family, my sister, she would send me half pencils, half pen, and that's the moment I began to ask myself, like, what is an organization? And there was one thing I learned: giving. So from that moment, I learned that life was about giving, friendship, family, friends, making the world smile, putting smiles on people's faces, and that was it. Today is 30-something years after. I'm still in an organization. I work with more organization, and I've understood in better terms what it means to be a community person, a community development expert, a woman development expert, and of course a communication expert, and all that is my story. However, as you said, the journey is always coming with positive and not
negative
positive. And the highest negative part of my story is just because I'm a woman. A lot of rebellious men around, a lot of difficulties, a lot of blockage, boundaries, barriers, and discouragement. People trying to tell you that because you're a woman you can't do this, you can't make it, and so on. And fortunately enough, we had understood what the battle really was, and I had to put on my armor and get ready for the battle, which we are here today.
That's all the women I receive on this set, they have one thing in common: the fact that they are women are already obstacles to where they wanted to head to, and their determination, like it blocks the barrier. So I'm really happy to see that just haphazardly the women I chose like to be on the set, they have the same story. Because I am a woman, they told me I could not do this, I could not do that, but today I put down the barrier and I can do it. I'm really excited, because each time it brings a new experience. You see how getting the same objective but in different kind of ways, with different kind of challenges. So, okay, when did you realize that your life will be guided by social and environmental engagement?
Honestly, I think when I was 5. Because I remember that at 5 years, I used to be able to write out a project.
At 5?
Yeah, I could identify things like, I'm from a Muslim home, so I was so blunt on early marriages, which was everywhere around me. And I was very inquisitive, Leaders always ask questions. And when you are a development expert or a person, you realize that you question your community, you question the people. And I was always like, but why? She's just 9. Why is she getting married? And they'll tell me, shut up. This is the taboo. This is the culture. You have to be like this. It has to be like this. And then I was surrounded by a situation where women had no voice. Like, I literally saw women, my mother, my aunties, go through a lot. They were either being beaten, some were even, there was this thing that really annoyed me, like women had no position where men were. So out of a sudden, I was like, something is wrong, When a child starts noticing something, the child becomes curious and angry. I was curious and angry. I was like, but why are the women here? Why are the men there? And then, from a Muslim background, you have there's extreme, the taboos are extremes. There are times you couldn't even see our faces. We were all covered, and then you always have to bow. It's true that it's a good culture, but I saw this culture neglecting the role of women. I kept asking myself, like, so is this how I'm going to grow up? Is this what I'm going to be? After going to school, I just have to go married. I thought school was not even important because they kept reminding you that no. Your work is not to go to school, it's to go to the kitchen, cook, learn how to go to the farm, learn how to help your mother, learn how to be a good wife. And so I began to ask questions. And when I began to ask questions, I realized that that was my calling. Because when God calls you, first of all, he makes sure that what he's calling you for, he makes it available for you to see. The trials, he brings the trials to cultivate, that inquisitiveness so that you will keep asking questions and thus looking for solutions.
He aligns the things up for you to develop this creativity, this curiosity, and this anger in you that's going to boost you, like to do what you have to do.
Exactly.
Okay, so which personal experience shaped your vision of feminism and environmental justice?
My background. My background has a lot to play in who I am today, why I'm into feminism, and why I care so much about the woman and her environment. As I told you before, growing up in a very local site of my village, seeing how terribly women were poorly represented, despite the fact that they were actually the major actors. Like, we were doing farming, I was opportune to grow part of my life in a village. So my mom and I, we used to go to the farm, work farm. She will come back, bring cassava, grate her it, look for a way to sell, making sure that she's taking care of her family. And it was always like that for all the other women. They were always busy, always trying to. But there was always the patriarchal side of it that were always available but absent. They are either away, far. So these women had to manage emotions of their emotion and that of their children. They had to manage societal pressure and others that came. So the men were always, I always say, like the ghost men were always there. Our fathers, our uncles.
They were really ghost men.
They were there, but they were not felt. And I began to look at it differently. I said, no. If women can become visible, then it means the men should be busy to be visible, because it's better for a parent to grow up a child together than to have one ghosted and one visible. So it made me to really start looking at the misrepresentation of women and seeking for solutions on looking at it different. Like, what if it was like this? What if it was like this? And this pushed me to go closer to many women. And the funniest part of this that I always don't want to talk about is, every woman, every woman, like woman around me, including family, friends, aunties, they have terrible experiences. Like, I can tell you about an auntie who was always beaten. I can tell you about an auntie who was doing everything, sponsoring, taking care of the children. I can tell you about a woman in my community who was like the man, but yet she was still subdued to be the woman. I can tell you about this woman who would work her ass out, and then the husband would just be profiting, but still standing and saying, I am the man. So I asked a lot of questions. I'm like, but was this not supposed to be a man and a woman's duty? Why is it only the woman? And why is it that despite the effort of the woman, it is still not visible? Because the male dominion, what they call the logic of dominion, has taken over. And that no matter how much they try to raise their voice, taboo will tell you, women don't talk. Yes. Taboo will remind you are just a woman. Taboo will still remind you that you don't have the right to. Taboo will still make you understand that a woman has no place when it comes to society. But today we're talking about development, and we see the role women are playing. How can we then advance without the women? What is the real position of a woman in her community? Is she the one that is being under the table, or the one that is being on the table? These are things that I started asking. And I just want to say that today, the government, cultures, taboos, some have even adjusted to fit in, because the power of emancipation is taking over. The economy is teaching us that women must be included. The social life is teaching us that women must be lead, like leader must lead. The politics is telling us that women must lead. And even in the economic, social, multicultural, it's teaching us that women must be portrayed in front. They must be pushed forward. If not, there's going to be no advancement. Today we'll talk about environmental crisis and so on. Women must be put in front. If these women are not put in front, we are not looking for solutions. We are destroying everything.
So you're coming from a Muslim background. It's true that when we see you, we look at you, we cannot imagine that you're coming from a Muslim background. So, like, who is from the Muslim background? Is it your mom, or you just decided, like, when growing up that, okay, I'm not more going to, like, dress, like, wear attires that look like Muslim people? Like, what really happened?
Yeah, when I mean from a Muslim background, it's my father's side.
Okay.
So my father is a Muslim, his family. So we come from a Muslim family. And, you know, back then, with the staunchness of Islam, it was to a level where we were not even allowed to marry Christians.
Yes, because sometimes I'm like, okay, you're from a Muslim background, because how come now that today, and it's from the father,
it's from the father, and you know how strict it can be. So just picture in those days where you could not just come and say, I want to get married to this, and he's a Christian, he'll be rejected. I remember there was a level where the men had to change their faith. You know, I come from a background where we were taught the Muslim principles, dressing, behavior, that influence on the feminine, and we grew up like that. I used to really adore it. I used to adore the simplicity, but I used to keep asking myself, like, are we going to remain like this? But years have passed and religions have emancipated too. So today, I wouldn't just say we are no longer staunch Muslims, but I think we have all grown above. We are no longer kids, we are adults. And adulthood is a complicated level where you can't force someone to choose what the person don't want. Yes. And each and every one of us, we have chosen to be Muslims, to be Christians, to be whatever, but we have chosen to adapt to the community that surrounds us, especially when it has to come with questions about women's position. Yeah, that makes me to understand that it's no longer about Islam, it's no longer about Christianity, it's about a woman, it's about a man, it's about people in the community. Because someday when we die, we will not be judged as Muslim or Christians. Because when you go over there, when you cross the borders, or when life must have hit it person behind, you will be there not as a Muslim, not as a Christian. So what the important message that I incorporated when I was growing up is that when you are a woman, you have to fight. Every day we fight. You have to fight, but you have to be kind. You have to be humble. You have to take all the principles, all the godly principles, so that you can be able to fit in your community. And I do not judge Muslims. I do not judge Christians. I just believe that God is God, and that once you believe that there is a supreme power that is in control of you, that's called salvation, and it's personal. It doesn't matter. Some people are into stones worshiping, some are into sun and so on. But we all know that we have a supreme being, and that's where I end it. Like,
your career combines media, entrepreneurship, and activism. So how do these three dimensions complete like each other?
Yeah, they always call me the multitask lady.
Yeah.
One thing I learned one day, my first time coming to Yaoundé, I was in a bus with a woman. When I was growing up, my best work was to become a dentist. I don't know why. But in my discussion with this lady, I just finished primary school. When I was coming to Yaoundé for my first time, she asked me a question. She was like, what do you want to become in the future? I said, no, a dentist. She said, good. But what if you don't become? I said, no, I must become a dentist. She said, no, you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. You need to ask yourself, what if I don't become a dentist? And I was like,
You're just checking. There was nothing.
I said, okay, I'll become an activist. And she was like, an activist? I said, yes. She said, what do I understand activist? I said, yes. I said, I want to be kind to people. I want to help people. I want to help my community. I want to help clean. I want to help build. I just want to help anything, even if in the She said, okay. So that means you want to gather all careers into one thing. I said, yes. And that was it. So when I said I wanted to be an activist, it's because I understood that in life, you could one day become a doctor. In short, in life, everyone is multitasking. There are days you're a mother, there are days you're a father, there are days you're a doctor, there are days you're a journalist, there are days you're a teacher. We just have everything. But now it is how you manage it. In my case, I wasn't just a young activist, but I used to love communication. I love people listening to me. I discovered that apart from my name says real, speak. Yeah. Apart from my name, I kept reminding myself, I kept seeing myself talking to people. I always wanted to be listened, to be heard. Like even in class, if I follow my lectures well, I don't need to read. That was the secret. I just need to concentrate. When I hear my lectures, one thing I do is that I re-lecture. I don't need to read. So I discovered that I had these skills. You know how Cameroon is. I went to the university. I did English modern letters in Guayaquil, in the University of Yaoundé, sorry. And I had my degree in British literature, but then I was already practicing journalism. I had to use my voice in another way. So in joining the TV, I started presenting program, animating program, of course, different kind of programs, cultural, gender programs, and of course the news. I even went to the news and so on. So I was doing practicing journalism, which up to today I'm still doing practicing journalism, and that's how I became a communicator. But then in school, I didn't forget my dream. I didn't forget that I was an activist, so I was into many organizations. And in these organizations, as I said, I learned to work with the community, with women, with girls, with disabled persons, with vulnerable persons. So I've worked with quite a good number of organizations. Until today, I'm at the head of at least 2 organizations, which I'm also the founder. And what I can tell you is that I'm enjoying replaying back my childhood and having my dreams come true. Because I always ask myself, it's as if God knew.
He knew, he always knows.
He knew that this child. Because I wrote ENS, I tried to get into all sort of job, but God kept pushing me and telling me, no, this is where you are. And today I am what He planned me to be, and what He had programmed me to be, that journalist. Now about my feminist, is also a question that dates back from my origin. So I'm so concerned right from childhood about the misrepresentation of women. So this now made me to go in to study British feminism, and of course, which today, in a couple of weeks, I'll be defending on ecofeminism, the woman and her environment, and how women and their environment can be treated better, not marginalized, so that they can be protected. Because protecting a woman, you are directly protecting her environment. So this is my point of interest, and I have not stopped there. I'm going as far as I can to make sure that we, sectors, government, people, families can stop misrepresenting women, which today are the right hand of everything about development, family, society, culture, and so on. We cannot leave them behind.
Okay. And as a public figure, how do you perceive the social responsibility that comes with having a public voice?
Public personality, that's very complicated. Just the other day, I was in my kaba, you know us now. Yes. My kaba, my head tied, and I was in the market. Somebody was shouting, "Is that not you? I always see on the TV." I said, "No.
It's not me."
He said, "It's you. I have your picture here." And I said, "It's me." Yeah, being a public person is already a complicated thing, because at times, like now, you say things that people don't agree, you say things that people hate, you say things that people love, you say things that people agree, and at a certain level, you become like the voice, the face of the society. So there is this thing that happens. You are loved the same as you are hated. But you cannot force anyone an opinion over you, because you are the TV here, I'm at the TV. But out of the TV, I'm still a human being, and I'm still a normal person. But public figures are really, really, it's not easy being a public figure. Yeah, at times they misrepresent the camera person and the reality behind. Since we are the voice and we are the face, we must do our work. It doesn't matter, but here the message, and whatever you have to do it irrespective of who you are behind the cameras.
And what were the key milestones in building your professional identity?
Braveness. I always like to use, I don't want to use determination, I don't want to use consistency, because there is something about where you are going to. You have to be brave. You have to be brave to yourself. I cannot tell you how many times I like privacy. I'm that kind of person that my room is like my shrine. Like, I love being in a private place. You know, there are times when I open that room and I enter, I shout out. But you know, in the public, you wipe your tears, because you cannot be telling people to wipe their tears when you're crying.
When you're crying.
No matter how hard it is, at times you can be so empty, but you have to let people understand that life is better. Things will be fine. And you are telling people, but you're telling yourself, Maimuna, things will be fine in your heart. But your voice is telling them, my people, things will be okay, but inside you are dying. So it is difficult. It is really difficult. But, you know, when it is your job, as I said, you have to do it. Bravery has one thing unique. When you are brave, you understand that every life is a battle. Every step is a battle. From small, when you get out of your mother's womb, the first thing you learn how to do is survival, sucking.
Yeah.
Because without that sucking, you cannot survive. So even if you don't want, you will be forced to suck. Now, when you have survived, the next thing you start creeping. That's what people don't understand, that life is gradual. That's why today, do not mock at somebody. Do not laugh at the present situation of anybody. Because the child that was sucking and could not creep will creep tomorrow. And the child that creeps tomorrow will obviously work. And of course, a child that can work can run. Yeah. You just need to be brave. You need to learn how to stand. Check your stand. Can the leg stand? Hold whatever you can hold. When I say hold whatever you can hold, is your education, your skills, your mentors, the people around you, your models. If you want to be Shakira, look at Shakira. If you want to be Maimuna, look at Maimuna. Even the Bible says that if you want to be like God, if you want to be the child of God, you must act like God. So this is about bravery. You have to understand that I can do this. It's difficult. I'm going to fall, but I'm going to be brave. So each time I entered and cried, the next morning, I didn't remain in the room. I will still come out. And when I come out, I will be like, yesterday I sliced. I will avoid the place that I sliced yesterday. And I will pick up another road stronger. But I will make sure that I do not slice again. Yeah. Because even, you know, it's often said that when you can't work, run. When you can't run, fly. Make sure that you always keep working. And to do that, you need to be brave. Yeah.
That was very, very interesting. So just a few minutes ago, you were talking about the obstacles you encountered just being as a woman. So can you kind of outline those obstacles and the little kind of tips you had to use to overcome it?
Yeah, one of the biggest obstacles that I understand and that I really want every woman should know is the silence voice. There are places you cannot talk because the people there will not let you talk. There are places you cannot even stand because those around you won't let you stand. There are places you will not even sit because there will be no chair for you. So I learned not to be silent. If I needed something, I walk up to you. I say, hi, please, can I have this? But there's also one thing. The difficulties are inevitable. Yeah. As you said, it is how you manage it. When I knew that my voice was my power, I do not look at people when I'm talking. If I have to say this, I must say it. No matter how, because they say Cameroon, there's freedom of speech. I'm not saying that you just say any kind of thing. Yeah. You need to be conscious of what you are saying. And know that you have the power over your voice. If you have the power over your voice, then you have the right to utter whatever you want to utter. Because even the Bible says the power of the tongue. Yeah. The tongue has power. And then, Each time I found myself where I needed to talk, and I realized that people were objecting, I raised my voice. Because there are times when your voice is low, they feel you weak. But when you raise your voice, you are heard. That is to say, some voices need to be raised for what is said to be heard. That kept aside. There is what they call personality objection. This is a very funny one, right? Today in the world, people connect with people that are in their class. Yeah. You're a journalist, all your friends can be journalists. If you meet someone that is telling on the roadside, no, this is not my class. Class distinction. A lot of people are seated where they are. You know, I can't just walk up to you now because you're a journalist, you're a big woman. How will I ever start telling you my issue? I was, inferiority complex causes what we have class distinction.
Exactly.
And also, superiority complex also causes class distinction. You want to talk to somebody who is feeling himself. He's a president. What can you tell him? You want to talk to someone that has achieved everything. He has his Pajero, his Lamborghini, and so on. Who are you to stand and talk? So when I realized that class distinction was something, and that people were feeling inferior and others were feeling superior, I told myself that I'm unique. Yeah. And I fit in where I wanted to be fed in. I understood that there are some places, like in conferences, there are some conferences where I discovered that I do animate a lot of conferences. When you ask a question, there is just, it's burning inside her, she wants to say it, but she just realized that, I just came here. How would it, she begins to downgrade herself. When you downgrade yourself, immediately on the class.
That's it.
Tu deviens classable. And when you are classable, you lose value. You just feel that I cannot walk in now and enter into Hilton and tell them, give me a glass of water. No, you can. If you have that confidence, you cannot allow yourself to be pushed aside. So when I realized that, and there's this saying that I always tell all women, they will not give you chairs everywhere. So when you're going somewhere, be intelligent and go with your chair.
That's it.
Don't go and wait for somebody, and you're not going to wake up somebody and say, let me sit. No, because there are people that are capable of waking somebody. If you're the one they want to wake, tell them that I'm not getting up from this chair. If you're going somewhere there where you know that people go with your chair here is not really the chair, it's the authority that you carry in you to enter that place and make an influence. Now, that kept aside, the other difficulties is really the fact that you're a woman. It's like a wicked reminder. It's like a nightmare. Each time you want to move, hey, women don't do this. And when you try, they will remind you of how proud you are, of how pompous you are, of how you will never get married, of how without your kind of attitude, of how, so people will keep reminding you that you cannot. You don't need people to remind you that you cannot about something that you have. That's what I always ask people. I know the skills that I have. I have acquired skills, certificates, and so on. I know that I can talk, so I use my voice rightly. So it's difficult for somebody to let me know that I can't do this, or to remind me that because I'm a woman, I cannot do this. Because I saw a lady the other day, she was doing weathering, like they were on the roof. Yeah. And when I looked up, I saw her. I came closer, and I said, hello, are you really up there? She said, yes. Are you not afraid to fall? She said, no, I was trained to do this, and I know what I'm doing, and I was proud of her. So when you are a woman, and people feel that because you have breasts, or because you are feminine, you can't do it, and then prove them wrong. That was the secret. Now, the last part of it is opposition. I think opposition now comes in very many categories. Due to time, I'm not going to elaborate deeply, but opposition comes sexually. Opposition comes mentally. Opposition comes physically. Opposition even comes, it comes psychologically. People are always ready to oppose you.
For no good reason.
For no good reason. The society will oppose you. The economy will oppose you. The culture itself, taboos will oppose you. Look at us in the Muslim background. They will tell you a woman is supposed to be in the kitchen. She's not supposed to go out. They teach you, in short, they impose dressings on you. They impose taboos. They impose culture, beliefs, and they forget that you are a whole kingdom on yourself. And you can manage everything if you want. But people want you to walk the way they want. The law wants you to walk the way they want. And I always ask myself, if you have to start being an opposer, how many people will you oppose? Because in your home, you start opposing from your husband. Because they have their own patriarchal rules that has to bend you. You have to start opposing even your friends. That will look at you and say, Maimuna, you're too fat. And then I'll go now and start thinking, but I'm too fat. They said I'm fat. Maybe I should go for a surgery. Maybe I should take concoctions. You're already being opposed. Even you're in school, people will remind you, no, you're dull. You can't do this. There is this lady that always said it. I love to do the things people tell me I cannot do. That makes me understand that I am more than what they think I am.
Yeah.
You are yourself. You have this brain to yourself. If you think you can break this wall and enter, do you think somebody will stop you? No. And even if somebody stops you, determination. If you have to go over oppression, if you have to go over rejection, if you have to go over being pushed away every time, you have to be determined, brave, and you have to be focused and be ready, because it's a whole battle. It's a whole battle. Now, the final one is people with lack of faith.
That's it.
Are so much tied to the Bible verse. If you say to that mountain, move, it will move. That's one of the most, metaphoric or personified statements in the Bible. Because all of us know that you cannot ask a mountain to move, but it carries millions of meanings in it. It means that if you get up in the morning and you tell yourself, today, I want to put order in my life, you are telling the mountain of your life to move. If you get up today and you feel like, I want to become whatever I want, you are asking the mountain in your life to move. Some people have refused to ask the mountains to move. Some people have just decided to worship the mountains. They have decided to adore the mountains with what we call stagnation. My research is so important to me, because people do not understand that if you take a woman out of her environment, she has changed. Take for example, if you take a woman from the north to Yaoundé, the capital city, one thing will happen. The climate effect on her body automatically stops. Yeah. It automatically changes. And the second thing that will happen is that her mentality upset. There she was used to, it's hot, let me put on something, maybe at this time she's not supposed to be outside, but she's coming to an urban area where at 10 p.m. people are still outside. You take a woman from the rural area where by 8 every house is locked, and then you put her in a cosmopolitan town, she will be her mind is going to reset. So it is not about what you cannot do, it is about who you are and where you come from. That's why there is a lot of influence on a woman's environment. If you want to liberate women today, you must liberate their environment. Yeah. That's what I always say. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for this conversation. Maintenant, nous allons prendre une petite transition parce que leader, c'est aussi le bien-être. Nous vous présentons la rubrique santé.
Voilà comment débutent les mycoses et la peau morte. Des pieds abîmés, laids et même gênants. Mais ce remède maison les transforme en pieds doux comme ceux d'un bébé. Dans un bol, ajoutez 2 cuillères à café. Le café exfolie, active la circulation et régénère la peau. Ajoutez 2 cuillères de sucre blanc pour éliminer la peau morte. Une cuillère de dentifrice combat les mycoses et nettoie en profondeur. Enfin, 2 cuillères de shampoing pour adoucir et exfolier. Si vous êtes là, c'est que cette vidéo vous plaît. Commentez votre remède pour les pieds fissurés. Dites-moi votre pays pour un salut dans la prochaine vidéo. Ce gommage transforme les pieds abîmés en pieds tout neufs. Laissez reposer jusqu'à ce qu'ils s'éclaircissent pour activer les ingrédients. Merci d'être là. Que Dieu vous bénisse toujours. Partagez cette vidéo avec quelqu'un qui en a besoin.
C'était la rubrique santé de ce matin. On voyait un gommage pour les pieds les pieds avec des peaux mortes. Ça vous arrive souvent de faire des gommages ou des petites astuces pour les pieds, les mains, ou je sais pas, ou les parties sèches de votre corps?
Ah oui, c'est très important. C'est comme une dame. En fait, nous les dames, nos corps sont d'abord compliqués. Il faut de soins de temps en temps et tout, parce que nous sommes d'abord fragiles au corps. Donc, je ne sais pas s'il y a encore des dames qui veulent vraiment passer la nuit sans mettre un peu de
skincare, skincare.
Mais aujourd'hui, nous avons beaucoup les services de beauté. Oui, avec 5 000 francs, on te masse, donc, et quand tu peux le faire toi seul, oui. Moi, j'aime utiliser le sel, j'aime utiliser le miel mélangé avec la farine de maïs.
De maïs.
Oui.
Pour faire le gommage.
Faire le gommage avec. Tu peux mettre bien sur toi avant que tu te laves. Et l'huile rouge.
Oui, c'est vrai que généralement dans ces instituts de beauté là, on utilise beaucoup d'huile rouge en fait. Je ne comprenais pas, mais...
Je pense que ça ouvre bien les pores. Je ne suis pas esthéticien, mais je sais quand même que voilà les choses qu'on nous dit de faire pour rester belle et pour rester fraîche.
D'accord, voilà qui a été dit, chers téléspectateurs. J'espère que vous avez pris note des petites astuces que Rio vous a communiquées aujourd'hui. Nous allons poursuivre notre échange avec cette brave dame. Cette dame qui se caractérise par sa bravoure, comme elle a dit tout à l'heure. Alors, nous allons poursuivre. You are currently pursuing a master degree in women and their environment. Okay, so what attracted you to ecofeminism?
I think it has to still do with my background and my study, because someone asked me, but you were doing British literature, how come now you are into... I said no. Yes, feminism, British feminism is an important topic, but I had to specify, because there are different types of feminism. Today we have contemporary feminism, we have ecofeminism, we have radical feminism, we have liberal feminism, and so on and so on. So I choose one because because many people today, when you say Cameroon, you're a feminist, on te regarde comme ça. And the next thing is you will never get married.
Does it?
But I'm not concerned about that, because feminism is not about getting married or not. Getting married or not is a personal decision. But feminism is about understanding a woman, her environment, and the things that are necessary for emancipation. That is, how can a woman be represented in her own society? So when I looked at all this, I realized that there was something peculiar. Apart from the misunderstanding that people think that feminism is hating men, I don't know where they got that from. But there is something important they ignore. The woman and where she comes from, and how her people, the people around her, her environment influences her, and what can be done to better off that situation. The environment today has to do with a lot. We have climate change, we have global warming, we have deforestation, afforestation, we have waste mismanagement. All this affects the woman immediately because they are the closest persons to the environment. So when we talk about the environment here, I want us to look at a woman. Okay, let me go back to the north. Let's look at a woman in the north. A woman in the north first, her menstrual cycle is already changing. Yeah. That's already one of the effects of climate change, because in the north it's hotter. And if you're a woman, you realize that when it's hotter and the climate change, it affects your menstruation. At times you can have twice a month. At times you can have once, but overflow. So this is just one example that I always like to quote, but this is not my point of interest. My point of interest is, how can a woman in cycle A be going through this, that, and so on, and the woman on cycle B is going through this, that, and so on, and they are both being marginalized by their environment? When you take set A and set B and put them in set C, something is going to happen. They are going to forget that they were in set A, that is their taboo, their influence. She's going to forget that she was in set B. What they will be adapted to now is set C, because set C is a new environment. So what do we say? if we have to talk about protection of women today, we must start by protecting their environment. Because the environment is where they will tell you a woman has no voice. The environment is where they will tell you a woman should not sit where men are. The same environment is that environment that will marginalize a woman and make her believe that despite being educated, she cannot get a good job. That same environment is the environment that will remind you that women of this family, they don't do this. That same environment is that toxic environment where they will tell you, my father used to beat up my mother, so I have to beat you up. That is that environment we are talking about. Do you think that if a woman is taken out of that environment to another environment, she's not going to survive? She's going to survive. So I became interested in the fact that women are suffering because of where they are. They are suffering because of the people around them. They are suffering because of what has been built against them. The cultures, the education, the mindset of the people that is working against them. And today you realize us that we do mostly with women development, and I'm more into the development of rural women. So I can tell you that with rural women, life is just as simple as you think. And that is why they are so close to their environment, because when we talk about a weather condition, they feel it first. When you talk about farming, agriculture, you talk about, let me talk about education, just farming, you know, their daily activities, they have as one timetable. In the morning, they look for food. The children eat, they go to the farm. They go to the farm, work, and they come back, look for what they will cook, come and cook, eat. They don't.
And the cycle starts by the next morning.
Continue. So they might even end up not always having time to even ask their husbands money for food. And so the men have taken it to be granted. They feel comfortable. And thus, women have been feeding their families back in the days, right from the rural areas. And today, despite the effort, nothing is recognized. There is no home you go and they will tell you that the woman is the one feeding this home. No, but they are the one feeding it. Today, the modern woman will tell you about 50-50. The modern woman will tell you about women emancipation. They'll tell you about career women and so on. You know, one bad thing about all this is that women have been forced to emancipate. And that is because their environment has changed. When you see a girl that left her village to town, it's something else. And when she goes back to her village, she carries the influence back to her village. That's why you see some of us, we go to the village now, we have nails there. Yeah, we now grind pepper like this. If possible, we carry our money next to the village. So a lot of emancipation. Emancipation has come now with violence. That's why you see they are killing women. Because the society cannot contain the emancipated woman who today has to get up in the morning, go to the office, work. She's having, she's exhausting the same energy a man used to exhaust, that used to actually give him that patriarchal power to be the man of the that status quo of the man of the house. Most of your women, are the men of the house, but you cannot accept it because you can't bear being the one being taken care of. I know many women that are living under the roof of women, but there is never a day you go into that house and then they will tell you it is the woman's house, it is the man's house. But who pays the bill? The woman. Who takes care of the house? The woman. If you look properly, closely, the chairs, the TV, everything belongs to the woman. That is what we have found ourselves in. So what has happened? People are unable to bear it. That's why you see the easiest way is feminicide. You are killing them because you can no longer tolerate their emancipation and their autonomy. Autonomous women are most of the women being killed. And most of those that are going through this violence, this killing, this murdering, this feminicide are those women that have tried to raise their voice. And Africa will tell you a woman does not raise her voice, but she's going to school. She has to be trained to be a doctor, to come back and sit home. So what happened to her skills? So it's becoming selfish, and a woman's environment continue and will continue to play a very vital role in how she is represented wherever she is. And until that is dismantled, there will continue to be this violence and the misrepresentation of these women.
Vous avez créé une entreprise, je ne sais pas si c'est une association ou une entreprise, qui est spécialisée dans la transformation des déchets. Et comment est née cette initiative?
Je suis à la tête d'une ONG, Let's Do It Cameroun, qui est une ONG internationale située au bout de l'autre pays, Estonie. Et cette organisation a pour objectif la protection de l'environnement et aussi les questions des déchets et tout. Donc, ça fait presque 8 ans que nous étudions l'état du déchet au Cameroun et nous avons participé à beaucoup des ateliers, des formations sur la transformation des déchets en matière, je sais pas, matière, en matière, in world, en fait. Par exemple, les plastiques en chaussures, en boucle d'oreille et tout. Cette idée est née parce que en 2018, quand je me suis engagée pour nettoyer mon pays, le Cameroun, à travers notre activité, le World Clean Up Day, Journée mondiale de nettoyage, que tout le monde connaît bien, on a découvert que nous avons fait beaucoup les nettoyages. Je me souviens une fois, ma première fois d'aller à Ngoussou, même comme c'est là où j'habite, mais ma première fois d'aller à Ngoussou, on a fait un nettoyage avec la GCI, au bout d'un quartier à Ngoussou, dans une drain qui avait fait 12 ans sans être nettoyé. Et le pire dans tout ça, c'est que on n'a même pas pu finir de nettoyer parce que quand on enlevait les plastiques, il y a un ballot que dès qu'on a soulevé, merde, l'odeur.
Voilà.
Donc on a laissé le nettoyage mi-chemin. On a fui. Donc c'était le genre où juste l'odeur là. Je pense qu'on avait 3 cas de maladie après ce nettoyage-là. On avait les cache-nez, on avait les gants, mais tu vois un tas qui a fait 12 ans, on ne fait que jeter. Et il a fallu qu'on se débarrasse de ça le jour-là. On a pris au moins 3 à 4 sections pour nettoyer cette drain en Ngoussou. Et ce n'était pas fini. Quand on a fini, ça n'a pas fait une semaine.
Il y avait encore.
C'était plein. Je ne vais pas parler de Ahala. Ahala, la fameuse drain, hier j'étais à réunion avec ma présidente, elle a dit, elle a pleuré quand elle est arrivée à Ahala, elle a vu un tas de plastique, elle a pleuré. Donc elle disait hier à réunion que le Cameroun, je me souviens de Ahala, le drain terrible. Le drain terrible qu'on a fait plus de 5 à 10 nettoyages. Chaque fois on nettoie le fond du ramène. Donc la question m'est revenue en tête, mais qu'est-ce qu'on va faire? Puisque parmi les endroits où on a nettoyé, voilà les plus grands trains qu'on a touchés, comme le combi aussi à Douala. Mais chaque fois, on nettoyait, on allait, mais on revenait retrouver ce qu'on a nettoyé. It was boring. Et la question était, mais c'est quoi l'impact donc? Ça veut dire qu'on est en train de faire un film, c'est un film donc.
Oui, ça recommence.
Ça recommence à zéro, c'est comme tu n'avances pas et tout. C'était une de mes premières conférences où j'ai dit, avec le temps, le plastique serait l'une des matières les plus chères au Cameroun. Et ça n'a pas fait quelques années plus tard. Aujourd'hui, nous parlons de la commercialisation de bouteilles de plastique. Aujourd'hui, nous achetons les plastiques, on vend aux partenaires recycleurs, il y a les éco-green, il y a les Red Place, autres, NAME Recycling et tout, sans publicité, s'il vous plaît, qui sont des compagnies de recyclage. Parce qu'à un certain niveau, on ne pouvait plus. Je me souviens, il y avait un jour, j'étais découragée. Il y avait un jour même, devant le ministre, j'ai pleuré. Parce que aller quelque part, nettoyer avec l'effort, l'équipement, les ressources et tout, et revenir retrouver, c'était décourageant. Là, on a commencé à regarder le recyclage. Let's Do It a pris son temps de ne pas seulement nettoyer, mais de nettoyer et de transformer ce type de déchets. Puisqu'il y en a beaucoup. Nous, on parlait de transformation des bouteilles de plastique, on parlait de transformation des cartons, des verres, cassables. Les déchets organiques aujourd'hui est l'une des matières chères qu'on a déjà produit, les déchets liquides, les engrais liquides. Donc, tous les déchets qui sont aujourd'hui peuvent être valorisés. Les déchets électroniques. Bientôt, on aura notre journée Digital Waste, Digital Clean-up Day, donc la journée de déchets digitales dans nos téléphones et tout. Donc, on a eu à comprendre qu'il fallait une solution plus visible. Là, quand même, quand on retirait les plastiques, on pouvait recycler. Et quand on recycle, on ne peut pas retrouver les mêmes plastiques, peut-être que d'autres. Et c'est comme ça qu'est née les formations sur le waste management qu'aujourd'hui, nous avons fait dans les écoles, dans les entreprises, avec les partenaires, ceci, et on continue à le faire, mais à un autre niveau en créant ce qu'on appelle environmental entrepreneurship, en créant les opportunités de travail, skills, parmi les jeunes. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, je peux vous dire, il y a pas mal de jeunes qui font dans le recyclage. Il y a les jeunes qui font le recyclage de bouteilles de plastique en sac à main. Il y a d'autres qui font le recyclage de déchets organiques en sac de marché. Il y en a celles qui recyclent les bouteilles de plastique en panier en plastique. Il y en a celles qui recyclent les plastiques en pelle, sac de pelle. Il y en a beaucoup des entrepreneurs camerounaises qui se sont engagées sur le recyclage et qui aujourd'hui sont les PDG de beaucoup des entreprises, de start-up.
Ça veut dire que vous pensez en fait que le potentiel économique que vous voyez dans le recyclage, et ça peut être comme une économie séculaire en Afrique?
C'est exactement, c'est une économie séculaire. Regardez un peu au Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire, il y en a les jeunes entrepreneurs. Aujourd'hui, ils font les jus naturels. Ils utilisent les déchets de jus naturels pour faire les engrais liquides. Ça, c'est une chaîne d'entreprise. J'ai une amie, elle fait dans l'élevage. Donc, elle fait l'élevage. Elle transforme ce qu'elle a élevé. Et maintenant, elle utilise les déchets sur l'élevage pour créer les engrais liquides. Donc, quand je dis si la Côte d'Ivoire peut le faire, voyez un peu le Sénégal, voyez un peu le Rwanda. Aujourd'hui, ce n'est plus l'envie d'aller développer le pays de quelqu'un. Vous avez vos propres ressources. Et c'est pour ça que j'aime travailler avec les femmes rurales. Ils ont toutes les ressources à leur disponibilité. C'est juste comment transformer. Avant, tu pouvais dépenser, tu sais, avant, les sacs d'engrais montaient jusqu'à 40 000. Aujourd'hui, avec les pommes, l'ananas gâté, les bananes gâtées, tu peux te faire un engrais liquide qui est d'abord plus fort, ça fait un bon harvest, a good harvest. Donc, pourquoi aller chercher autre chose quand tu l'as? Donc, ce que je peux dire, c'est si on continue à d'abord identifier nos ressources, parce que les gens n'identifient pas. Les gens n'identifient pas. Avant, les gens jetaient les bouteilles de plastique partout. Si vous marchez à Yaoundé, vous allez voir maintenant les moustiquaires partout avec les bouteilles de plastique. Est-ce que vous savez que le moustiquaire plein, là, c'est au moins 5 000? Est-ce que vous savez que 13 de ces moustiquaires, c'est 50 000? Imagine un jeune au Cameroun qui touche 50 000 par mois. Disons qu'il peut remplir ça dans un mois. 13 filets, mais c'est même bizarre. Parce que 13 filets en 2, 3, 4 jours, tu as rempli. Donc un Camerounais peut même passer au-delà à 200 000 par mois en ramassant. En l'Inde, aujourd'hui, nous avons toute une entreprise. Le gouvernement reconnaît bien les collecteurs des déchets. Ce sont les gens qui ont les matricules. Donc, il faut aussi que le gouvernement, c'est un appel d'ailleurs pour le gouvernement, de mettre l'œil sur le recyclage. Parce que si on doit se développer, il faut vraiment qu'on utilise nos propres ressources pour se développer. Ça va arrêter que les jeunes ne fuient pas le pays.
Donc, comment convaincre donc les communautés que les déchets peuvent devenir des ressources? Quelles sont les stratégies mises en place pour pouvoir le faire?
La sensibilisation. Parce que on dit, ne pas connaître, c'est un péché. Parce que quand tu ne connais pas, imagine une dame, un jour, elle était dépassée, elle voit tant de gens dans une école où sûrement elle chie même là-bas. Donc elle jette tout. Mais nous voilà, on vient chez elle, derrière ça, on ramasse des tas de plastique. Le jour là, on avait fait au moins. C'était à Coron. Quand je dis, c'est pas loin à Coron. Tu vois les maisons au bout de Coron là. Et la mère, elle est venue, elle nous a demandé, mais vous faites quoi avec les plastiques-ci? Je t'ai dit que la maman là a pleuré après l'explication. Elle dit, donc je dors sur l'or. Donc chaque jour ce mois là, c'est l'or. Elle m'a demandé les filières. Je lui ai donné les filières. Maman remplit. Quand c'est plein, appelle-moi. Quand je vous dis qu'aujourd'hui la maman a fait de l'argent, vous allez me croire. Mais c'était chez elle. Tout le monde sort vient jeter le plastique. C'est un rigole. Donc quand le rigole sort, ça amène le plastique. Mais elle n'a jamais pensé qu'elle pouvait s'engager pour devenir un collecteur qui devait améliorer sa vie. Parce que si par semaine, comme c'est un collecteur permanent, si par semaine elle retire 13 filets, ça veut dire que par semaine elle a 50 000. Quand je parle, j'aime toujours parler de cette monsieur à Douala à Combi qui m'a vraiment touchée. Vous voyez la photo où j'ai ramassé avec les déchets là, c'est le train de Combi là. Ce monsieur, c'est un collecteur permanent dans cette train-là. Quand il faisait son témoignage, il a dit, il habitait dans une chambre à Douala, dans le quartier Dakar. C'était tellement fort, sa femme lui est quittée, il était avec les enfants. Un jour, il est passé comme ça à Combi, il voyait le papa, il y a un papa là-bas qui ramasse. Il est venu rencontrer le papa et après, le papa lui a dit que attends, j'appelle le camion. Le papa appelle le camion. On est venu lui payer sur place. Il a demandé donc si je fais comme ça, c'est que j'aurais me payer. Il a dit oui. Au lieu d'aller voler, arracher les sacs et tout, il s'est dédié. À 5 heures, le papa est dans le drain. Tu sais que le papa là nous ont dépassé quand ils ont dit qu'il touche 250 000 par mois.
Avec la collecte.
Il doit seulement se lever. D'ici 9h10, il a fini son collecte, il rentre à la maison. Il nous a dit qu'il est quitté d'une seule chambre à une studio. Et tu sais que sa femme est même revenue. Sa femme est revenue. Et qu'aujourd'hui, ses enfants font l'une des meilleures écoles qu'il ne pouvait jamais payer. Mais aujourd'hui, comme je vous parle, il est toujours dans le train et collecte. Donc, si ça peut changer ta vie, ça te cause quoi? Est-ce que tu vas aller te plaindre, le gouvernement ne donne pas le travail, je n'ai pas les matricules, alors que tu pouvais bien utiliser tes propres ressources. Les déchets que tu jettes chaque jour là, c'est ça que les entreprises ont besoin. Les bouteilles de plastique que tu jettes partout, que vous salissez notre ville avec là, c'est une matière première pour une entreprise. Les cartons, les œufs et tout ça. Et pourquoi ne pas te former? Aujourd'hui, on forme. Comment transformer les plastiques pour faire les tissus de toilettes? Comment on appelle? Toilet tissue. Comment transformer les plastiques pour faire les boucles? C'est beau et c'est faisable. Aujourd'hui, on parle de flower jars et tout, que les enfants, il faut apprendre à faire quelque chose. Mieux apprendre à transformer un déchet que tu connais bien, que tu peux accéder, que de rester comme ça et de te plaindre parce que tu attends un travail que tu ne sais pas quand ça va arriver. Oui. Donc, il faut être sage.
Exactement. Ça, ce sont des conseils qui sont... C'est très bien. Et on se rend compte qu'avec les déchets, on peut s'enrichir, on peut vivre à partir des déchets.
Waste to wealth.
D'accord. Nous allons encore prendre une petite transition, une plage musicale et nous nous retrouvons juste derrière.
Tu es un cadeau du ciel. Il n'y a pas de moi.
Je sais tout ça.
Tu es mon médicament. Bébé, c'est toi qui peux me soigner.
Asengime kwa dibongo hamutu homba ai nangonyo nde wanyolomba na maponwe ai manga.
La première fois que je t'ai vu, j'étais dans l'oué avant que tu ne dises un mot. Une histoire de coup de foudre en plein marché de mon col, je t'ai tombé sans blesser. Je tiens à ce que tu saches, oh bébé, comme mon amour pour toi débordé comme le fleuve du Vouri. Tu es un cadeau du ciel. Chérie, il n'y a pas de moi sans toi. Il n'y a pas de moi sans toi. Tu es mon médicament. Tu es mon médicament. Bébé, c'est toi qui peux me soigner. Bébé, soigne-moi. Oh chérie, je suis malade. Aïe, bébé, touche-moi. Oh bébé, oh, trop de douleur. Moi besoin de consulter. Prise de température.
Asengime kwa dibongo hamutu homba ai nangonyo nde wanyolomba na maponwe ai manga. Nene pula na wamo sisi tomba basa na muto ebanyana esele mana sape wae. Mana esele mana bole wapon. Esele mana sengewe yango pone bandana wanewe mule mae. We esele mana bole wae. Esele mana tape wapon. Mana esele mana sengewe yango bandana wanewe mbamule mae. Nombote wa malona konde amuto.
Tu es un cadeau du ciel. Il n'y a pas de moi.
Je sais, je suis le seul et le meilleur et aïe, c'est un amour.
Tu es un cadeau du ciel. Sans toi, il n'y a pas de moi sans toi. Oh bébé, soigne-moi. Oh chérie, je suis maladie. Bébé. Et c'est les balles à taper, ouais. Banjana, wande, wemba, moulema. Tu es un gâteau. Bébé, c'est toi.
De retour sur le plateau des leaders, nous sommes avec notre invité Nganjo Memunatou Ryu et nous avons une très bel échange. Journaliste, entrepreneur environnemental et activiste féministe. Ryu, how can young people be mobilized around environmental and social issues?
Young people, I think young people are one of the most difficult people you have to mobilize.
That's why I was actually asking the question.
But that's understandable, you know. The young people have this mentality. I'm a young person and I'm also a volunteer. So, in our journey of mobilization, it's not been easy. I can assure you that we have worked with a good number of youths. Like for the world cleanup day, I can tell you how that we've been able to mobilize close to 8,000 of Cameroonians in all the 10 regions that went out to clean. And I learned one thing. There is la volonté, il y a la volonté. There is a will. The willpower is there, but the difficulties is bigger. When you have an activities like in Korong, you will need 30 volunteers. They know that they want to protect their environment. Some of them will tell you, I just want to leave my house. I don't even want to be in the house. But the next thing is, I don't even have transport. A child living Simba to Korong must spend at least 500 to 600 to come, and then the same to go. So you need at least 1,000, which most of the times organizations might not give them back. That is already a sacrifice that they are showing up for the environment. And now, someone might be at Mesasi. I used to have a volunteer, I remember her. Thank you so much. She used to come from Mesasi. And each time this child came, I was looking at her, I was like, God, look at the willpower that she has and favor her. Like she really wants to make sure that she does something for her environment. She cleans, she comes for training, but she does not have the resources. At times we can manage to give her one way back. At times when we give her transport. But for how long? Someone like me, I volunteered for, I'm almost 150 certificates of volunteerism. And you realize that in each of it, you have to sacrifice. So the youth have the willpower. The resources is an issue, even for the organizations, because we organize activities with our own personal resources. Where there is little funding, it is still insufficient. But you realize that we have questions of concerning environment, our environment that needs answers, and people are ready to answer, but they are just being blocked because there are boundaries that is limiting them to access those solutions. And it makes it difficult. Because if we are going to fight, we must all go to fight. Some people cannot be holding weapons, but they are staying behind. So it's difficult, but I also want to take this time to encourage volunteers. And I always tell people, volunteerism is the best thing that ever happened to my life. Why? I always say this. I'm at the head of an organization that was just given to me like that because of volunteerism. I remember very well, Mr. Mba. I wish one day I can really see you. He called me and said, how much can I pay you, Maimuna? I was just in level 1, 2. How much can I pay you? I said, so don't pay me. Please, I just want to work. I don't want pay. I want to learn skills. And that is the statement that brought me where I am today. You don't want me to pay you? I said, no, sir, don't pay me. You have data? I said, yes, sir. I always use my school Wi-Fi. Because in the university back then, we used to connect to the school Wi-Fi. He said, are you sure? I said, yes. And that is how, when he was leaving, he said, be my new country director. And that's how I became. So there is something about volunteerism that people don't understand, but I'll explain. When you are a youth, learn to be useful. I want to thank my pastor for always saying this. He always tells you that if you are in church, be useful for your church. If you are in your home, be useful in your home. I'm saying this to the men. Be useful. When they say useful, partake in every details. If you are in a hospital, be useful. Today we have graduated nurses. They prefer to sit at home. Do you prefer to sit at home than to go and volunteer somewhere? A friend of mine was complaining, I don't have a job. This Cameroon is too difficult. And I told her, have you ever volunteered? She was like, what? Me? I go and work somewhere? No money, no salary. I say yes. Some skills are gotten from volunteerism. Someone like me. Every day, when I look at my members, the person that easily captures me is a volunteer. That's where I can raise a volunteer from the volunteer position to a board member. Because I prefer to see what you can do than to hear what you say you can do. Some of you are just stuck in that position because you are not useful. You are useless. You went to school, had all the certificates, and you are home useless. Being, as I was telling you, it's difficult. I know the transport, the sacrifice, and so on is difficult. But there is something you don't know. When you have a skill that you are not using, the skill dies. Do you agree with me?
That's it.
If today I'm into recycling, do you think that I thought one day I'll be a recycler? I didn't think. If today I can transform plastic, it is not what I was taught in school. It's a skill that I acquired along the way because I was determined. Today I train people, I train companies on a skill that I acquired. And, some volunteers will come, they know nothing. When they come, they are blank. I always remind anyone that has worked with Let's Do It, no matter where you are or what you are today, you were being trained. Let's Do It trained you. It trains you because you came not as a recycler, but you left as a recycler. You came not as a collector, but you left as a waste collector. So there is always a skill to learn somewhere. In a conference, somebody put up the hand, Madam, I have a question. He said, yes. He said, I've posted everywhere and nobody is calling me for a job. And I told him, have you ever gone to your council? The council need people. Have you ever gone to the council and said, I want to meet the Lord Mayor? You go to the Lord Mayor's office and say, Mayor, your city is dirty. Please, for a broom, a cutlass, a bucket, let me go and work because I am home idling. Have you ever done that? If you have tried, you understand that after 1, 2, 3, 4 months or even a year, that council will recruit you. Wow. But some of you today, you are here. Being here is important. But when you are here and not being useful to your Android phone, you are still useless. Because many skills today are gained even on internet. So ask yourself, are you just browsing for fun or you are browsing to be trained? Those are the question. So the message for the volunteer is, it's difficult. That I acknowledge. But you cannot sit there and just say it's difficult. Leave your comfort zone. When you volunteer, you meet new people, you share ideas, you network, you learn skills, and above all, you put yourself in a busy mode, and you avoid gossiping, idling, and of course, committing illegal crimes that you should have avoided by being busy. Imagine I'm a collector. Let me explain to you the life of a collector. 5 o'clock, they are up. They prepare. 6 o'clock, they're in the drain. They are there busy and talking to their plastics. By the time it's 10, 12, they are already about 4 nets collected. No problem, no issue. They have worked. And then they go back home and come back the next day. About a week, they have 100,000, 50,000 entering their pockets. They have made something. They have volunteered for themselves. So the question is, who are you? How useful are you to yourself and to the sectors and institutions around you? If you are useful to these institutions, what skills have you acquired? Can the skills be reused? Then, if you have an answer to this question, I think you understand that you have to start being a volunteer now. Yeah.
So, in your point of view, what distinguishes the new generation of feminist movements?
Yeah, the new distinction about the new ideological feminism, which I would call it contemporary feminism, because the post-colonial feminists looked at the world differently. But today we are talking about a contemporary feminist ideology, which many feminists like me do not buy a lot of ideas, because feminism today, or contemporary feminism, in quotes, hates men. The word is not hate men. The word is autonomy, female autonomy. When you're autonomous, it doesn't mean that you hate your counterpart. You cannot hate someone that joins with you to bring life. But it is autonomy. If you are a woman in the contemporary feministic era, you must understand where you are standing. Are you the radical type? Are you the misled feminist, or are you the lost feminist? Because it is about womanhood, her environment, her job, her children, her family, and so on. Whatever may be your point of interest, what has changed so much is what they call infiltration. Just like religion. Today, religion has been infiltrated. Many ideologies have been infiltrated. Many tenets and many principles that were never in these ideologies have been adopted by whosoever I don't know, and they have brought in infiltrated ideologies into the real ideology, which has turned it against the ideologists. And today, I don't think anybody loves me telling them I'm a feminist. Yeah. And many women have been brainwashed to fear uttering, declaring their feminine or their feministic ideas. Because a man just say, I cannot marry the feminist wife. That is not it. This is just the hatred that has been developed, to infiltrate the idea of feminism. Someone like me, I will never say I hate men. I don't hate men. I hate the fact that my ideology has boundaries. If I believe that every woman can be autonomous, then a woman can be autonomous. You can become autonomous, but you can experience barriers, which everybody does. Your barrier can be a man. Your barrier can be your education. Your barrier can be your taboo. Your barrier might never even have to do with a man, but it can be yourself. You don't want to focus and move forward. You are destroyed mentally, because today, honestly, a lot of people are being destroyed mentally. What they call, I don't know how to term it, but I wish I should have called it psychological feminists. Feminists whose own feminism remain in their brain. They just think that because I'm a woman, I can do this, I can do that. No. And then they end up falling into depression, falling into whatsoever, which further leads to suicide. Those are people that have refused to move out of the sphere of misguided feminist view. Because I don't still get it. Feminism in the Western world, people say, yeah, this is a Western ideology. Yes, it's a Western ideology, just like Christianity, just like Islam, just like every other ideology that we are worshipping and practicing today. Feminism is a Western ideology. But that has been adopted. And adopted because we need to pave a way for women to stop being misrepresented. So today's feminism, if you are not a staunch feminist who understands what feminism is, please just sit quiet. Don't mislead people. And the fact that there is the battle between men and women, it's inevitable. Because these battles, even from small, you find girls fighting with boys. It's a striving force that comes. It comes with everything. It comes with argument. It comes with life. It comes with daily activities. Like, I'm sorry to say this, but before I came here, I was so annoyed. I remember I told my neighbor, wait, let me go for my TV program. I'll be back to this. Like, the guy got his wife beaten this morning because she poured salt. And these couples have been fighting. I've just been looking at them and telling myself, God, give me the strength to handle these couples. Because I don't understand. And my neighbor is always at that, will tell you, je n'aime pas les féministes. I hate feminists. But look at what he's doing to his wife. Every
With
day
all
he's
the
punching that lady.
sensitization that is going on, people are saying, like
when I called the lady into my house this morning, I told her, "Mommy, boy, wait, I'll come back to your kids, but you know what? I blame you. You just sit at home loitering and wasting your life. That's why you are like that." And I left. Because I don't understand. If you are at home every day, morning, evening, you're looking at your man every day, you are useless. So the question is, why don't you even make yourself useful for your own marriage? How would they not beat you? That's the problem. So today, feminism has to be relooked, reviewed, and do not be misled. If you do not understand it, take time to study it. Just like religions today, so much infiltration. It is the same case with feminism. So do not use wrong ideology and judge a wrong person and judge the right person wrongly just because you do not want to study.
how do you imagine the future of ecofeminism in Africa?
Well, from research, some researchers will tell you ecofeminism is outdated. And they'll start telling you about realism, about whatever. But the truth is, there is no way we can separate a woman from her environment if we do not protect that environment. It means that what? If we keep talking about women have to emancipate, they must move from one location to another. But remember that a woman is her environment. If you take a woman to a toxic environment, she will become toxic. If you take a woman to an environment where there are women beaters, they will beat her. If you take a woman into a home where every man there is feeling king, the woman will feel like a slave. So before we want to even go forward, let us ask ourselves, you, the woman, where do you find yourself? Is that environment where you belong? Is that environment what you envisage for yourself? And if you are given a chance to be taken out of that environment, do you think it's going to bring a solution to your cries and worries and pains? Of course, yes. That's why in Africa, when there's problem in the home, the woman is sent back to her parents' house. But the question here is, there is an environment A and there's an environment B. So does the transition from her home to her father's home bring some change? Does it bring some change? Yes. So some of you are being influenced by your environment. Step out of it. I'm not saying that you divorce your husbands or leave your husbands, but change your environment. If the environment is influencing you, try to change the environment. Because if anybody loves you, the person will protect your environment. It's a basic knowledge. Where there is mosquito, where there is water, there is mosquito. If your house is beside a gutter, you will be bitten by mosquito. But if you get up and clear that mosquito, you will protect yourself. So you will not need to have malaria and go to the hospital. Now, are you that drain? Are you the mosquito that has to leave that drain to bite the woman? Or are you the one that will go to clean it so as to protect yourself? Some of you are just being killed today because of yourself. You saw the signs. You saw it, but you said, no, society will judge me. I'm not married. They will laugh me. I'm a single mother. Society laughs at everybody, everything. Society even laughs at you when you are a believer. Society laughs at everything. But society is me. Society is you. And you have your problems, I have my problems. That's what I always tell people. Don't talk about society when you are the society. Yes.
So that's like we're already trying to round up. What message would you like to share with the women, the young people listening to you today?
Let me start with the young people, the girls. There is something about the girls I really want to talk about. Accepting your nature as a girl, but not accepting the principles that binds you or describes you as a girl. While growing up, I never knew that men cook. I'm sure my father is one of the first men I ever saw cook. It was so difficult for us to see men in the kitchen. I think it was up to a level where I thought that the kitchen was just for the women. We believe that. Today, young girls have to ask themselves questions. I wish I was saying this to parents, but today we are in a way, our world today is way too innovative to control certain things. So young girls of today, you need to know your value. You have the right to education. You have the right to take care of yourself. You have the right to say no. You have the right to say yes. Many of you girls do not know your rights. You have never taken time to study the rights of a girl. That is why my African brothers will tell you all the children that grow in the Western world are badly brought up because they know their rights. You won't just hit a child in the Western world. No. That child can, yeah, I know it's painful. Yeah, we can't bear it, but it is part of the protection of the rights of the child, which today the United Nations, UNICEF, they are preaching day and night. Young girls, know your right. If you know your right, you will learn to stay away from rape. If you know your right, you will learn to take education serious. If you know your right, you will learn to acquire skills so that tomorrow you will not be subdued under circumstances just because you are not autonomous. Every girl child is autonomous. Now for the women, you create what you want for yourself. There is always a going back. There was a time in my life I walked up to myself in the mirror and I said, you in the mirror, listen to me. I want it. And then the mirror looked at me and said, but the society will laugh at you. The society will judge you. The society, and I looked at the mirror and I told myself, the society will not laugh me. The society will laugh you in the mirror. So you in the mirror, you are the society. This me, I am myself. And that is when I separated myself from society. There is nothing the society can say that can touch. If you do not believe, if you believe this morning that you are the society, then you will hear your own voice talking to yourself. And when your voice talks to you, you will rebuke the things you don't want to hear. And that is what I want to tell all of this. If you want to be under domestic violence, well, you choose it for yourself. If you think you are there for your children, those children, they have their lives. If you think you are there to save your marriage, if you think you are there to avoid being mocked, the grave takes one space. One. And I'm sure that you and I, we know what the Bible says. When we must have left this physical world, we might not even recognize each other in the spiritual world. Because in the spiritual world, well, protect yourself early, my dear ladies. Protect yourself now and know who you are. And whatever is happening around you, you give the go-ahead.
Thanks very much, Rio, for that advice. I hope the televiewers are listening to it today. And so as we come to the end of our program, Leaders, this morning, today's conversation reminds us that leadership can take many forms through ideas, through action, and through the courage to challenge the status quo. Thank you, Rio, for sharing your journey, your insights, and your commitment with us today. Thank you, dear televiewers, for being with us. Until the next time, keep leading, keep inspiring. See you soon on Leaders.